In this video, I'm going to talk about ventilation of your room here in Thailand. If you're looking for a budget room in Thailand or perhaps anywhere else, that's what I'm talking about here. And this is now the third video in the series and hopefully the last. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I've moved, I've changed rooms, and this room is a good example of what I'm talking about. I've got a series of videos on my channel called Finding a Room. About 8 parts, the things to look out for when you're looking for a room here in Thailand, an apartment or a condo. And part 1 was ventilation, of course maybe the most important thing. And basically, just to recap, obviously you've got an air conditioner, but you don't have to have an air conditioner. You can live without an air conditioner in Thailand, and preferably you may not want an air conditioner, at least on all day, because you want to get acclimatized to the heat. But if you don't have an air conditioner, you have to have windows with good insect screens to keep out mosquitoes and other insects. So you can leave the windows open at night time for air. If you don't have that, then you have to have an air conditioner. That's what I spoke about in the first video. I'll put links to those 2 videos in the description. In the first video at the condo I was at was a good example. The sliding door had no fly screen, had to have an air conditioner because you can't open up windows. I did have a window facing the corridor with fly screens, but if you open up that window, I just let neighbours' noise in. Thailand's a very annoying place to live with annoying neighbours, loud people, cigarette smoke and so forth. So I kept that window closed. So then you have to have an air conditioner if you can't open up windows. In the next video was made at my previous room. I've now moved. And that was a good example of a room. There was no air conditioner there, but I had 2 windows with good fly screens on opposite sides of the room to get a cross ventilation. That's the second bonus, to have 2 windows to get a cross draft, a cross ventilation of air. The trouble there was that, again, if you don't have an air conditioner, you have to leave windows open. You run the risk of letting the noise, neighbours, music, people's TVs, cigarette smoke, cooking smells into your room. I found that, I'm sorry to say, but Thailand can be annoying sometimes. And in that video, I showed also how the window at the front, say here's a front door, was facing a corridor, and there was a room directly opposite. You don't want that as well, because if you have your window open, and I had annoying people, the reason I moved is to get away from those people. They had their TV going all night, and the noise was coming straight into my room. You want to avoid that. Having annoying neighbours next door could be bad enough, but across the hallway, directly facing your window, you don't want that at all. Okay, so if you don't have an air conditioner, windows open with fly screens, but you run the risk of letting noise into your room. Earplugs might help. Now, in this room, at the front, there's a front door, a window I can open up, but there's no fly screen on this window. They've got cardboard here for some reason, so it's difficult to open the window, but I can, in theory, open the window, a louver window with a winder, but there's no fly screen. If I turn around to the back end of the room, there's even no window on this wall. If I flick the lights on and go out, I've got a balcony out here that could easily have put a window on this wall. Just here, I shut the door to keep mosquitoes out because it's night time, and I could have had a window here, and then I could have had 2 windows for cross air and so forth. But you can see how that window doesn't have a fly screen. There's no window here. I can't leave the door open. This area has got many mosquitoes. Then you have to have an air conditioner, which is what I've got. So you can see how, here's another example. In the first video and now here, rooms that don't have good fly screens, you have to have an air conditioner. If I didn't have an air conditioner at that condo in the first video or here, you couldn't live here at all. It'll be impossible unless you want to get eaten alive by mosquitoes. Some places in Thailand don't have many mosquitoes, but the condo had a few, and this has quite a lot coming in through the back here. So that was the point I wanted to make. And you can see also how there's poor design. Like, there's good construction standards in Thailand, but the design's poor. Like, why they don't put a fly screen on that window there, why they couldn't have been a window on the back wall. I've got no idea. These poor design things you get in Thailand. So there it is. I hope that makes sense. Another room here I've moved to where you have to have an air conditioner. Be careful about these issues. And in the previous video number 2 at my last room, no air conditioner, have to have windows open for air, and you run the risk of letting the noise in. And that room I showed you opposite the opposite my window, opposite the corridor, they were very annoying people with loud TVs, quite often all night, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch football, waking me up, couldn't sleep all night sometimes. That's why I've moved. You don't want that window facing. Maybe rooms next door might be okay, but don't have a window or room facing opposite you. So I hope that all that makes sense. These 3 videos talking about ventilation, and all 3 rooms I've been in were good illustrations. This is similar to the condo, I suppose, the first video, but the second video was a good example of no air conditioner but fly screens. And I'm back to a room that doesn't have fly screens, but at least I've got an air conditioner. So there it is. A few more comments about ventilation in Thailand in a budget room. I hope that makes sense, and I'll see you next time.